Welcome to this week's tour video. If you don't know by now, I'm going around the UK visiting all of the Boatfolk marinas using their cruising pass, which means that you can spend up to 30 days in each of their marinas if you're a berth holder, which is good. Before I get into this tour, before we talk about anything else, if you live on a boat, this is going to be quite a big thing for you, but they have a bath. An actual bath that you can use to have an actual bath. 2 years I haven't had a bath for. I had a bath. Nothing else matters. I'm already in love with the place. Right. Coming up, we're going to talk about navigation. I'm going to show you how they operate the lock from inside the lock control tower, which is cool. I'm going to show you why they drive boats along a road, which is good. I'm going to show you all around the marina and the local area, and that is probably that. Roll the VT or something. Do me a favour and watch this video. Not for me, for the RNLI. Because basically these marina tour videos, what I'm going to do is any proceeds that come from them, at the end of every month I'm going to donate that amount to the RNLI station that is local to this marina. So, have a watch, keep watching, and those few minutes you have to spend looking at adverts and listening to this stupid fool are going to make money to help our amazing volunteers that save lives at sea all the time. Yeah, let's get into the tour. Okay, so obviously we're in the UK and we are still up the Bristol Channel. You can see Penarth is down there near Cardiff, and then Portishead is just marked there by Bristol. You can see the marina is quite a long one. It's actually pretty huge. So you'll need to come up the Bristol Channel here, and you need to be aware of shipping in this area too. And also you need to be really aware of the tidal range, because it's huge. In fact, you can see that by the fact that there is a minus 10.3 mark just there. And also a minus 11.3 just there, which obviously means that there is more than 11.3 metres of tide, otherwise that would just be dry all the time. As you approach the marina, you will come across this long jetty, and the thing that you need to be aware of there are some countercurrents around the end of it. Once you do that, you come alongside, follow the markers, and you will come up to the actual lock, which is what I will show you now. Et voila, here we are. As you can see, that is not me. But yeah, you can see in the distance there the jetty and the wall that you'll follow yourself down into the lock. Call them up on the VHF and they'll tell you when the opening times are. This is the actual control room that you'll see from the outside, like a nice little glass box. Interestingly, all the controls are done on this touchscreen interface, which is like an automation for the buttons that are all hiding below. So if that was to ever fail, you can manually override everything with the buttons and do everything that way. Inside the lock itself are various different water level sensors, so it knows the level of water inside the marina, the state of tide, and the amount of water in the lock, and it uses all of those to determine how and when to open the gates and things like that. So you'll come inside, tie up, and the operator will then press the magic button, and the gates will start sounding like Jurassic Park and closing in behind you. Not a time to get claustrophobic. As you can see, the pontoon down the side there is actually a floating pontoon, so you don't need any long lines or anything like that. You just come up, come alongside and tie on as you would any other pontoon, and that'll rise up with the water level. The operator there just monitors you getting tied up and everything else, waiting for the gates to close. I'm just stood there like a spare part basically. It's pretty cool though. So once the gates are closed, the barriers come up and you can actually walk across the lock gates. So now that those are closed, they need to obviously open the far gates. So you can hear the alarms will go off and flashing lights, and that will let anybody know that's on the lock gate that they're about to open, and everybody will step off them. Unfortunately, I'm stupid, so I forgot to move the camera to the interesting side just yet, but I will do, don't you worry. So the barriers are up on this side now and you're free to walk across. Everybody's off the lock gates at the other side. The magic touchscreen is pressed, and you can just see, if I zoom in, the lock gates don't actually have sluices on this side. What they actually do is open ever so slightly to allow the water level to start to rise inside of the lock. There's me walking past the camera with the camera, so you can actually see the interesting side of stuff what's happening, which will come up anytime now. And that's it, the lock's filling. The amount at which the gates open and all the rest of it is all controlled by the system. But as I say, it can all be overridden if needs be. There's an incredible amount of turbulence, particularly when it's low tide outside or lower tides outside. You can't get in at all states of tide. Huge amounts of turbulence, which is why it's really important to tie up really well. And I'll just shut up and you can watch the water level come up. As he says that, I changed the camera angle. If you wanted professionalism, you'd go somewhere else. I'm clearly filming there on my phone, so maybe I'll try and find that footage and put it in somewhere. It'll be around somewhere.
Marina from York there, over.
As you can see, people always sort of line up to watch the locks filling and emptying, which is nerve-wracking when you're going in on your own and you're not used to it, because you're like, oh, don't mess it up, don't mess it up, don't mess it up. As I say, there are sensors in the lock which will let it know when the level in the lock is equal to the level in the marina, and when that is the case, it will allow the gates to open all the way. So these guys are getting their fenders out on the other side. If you radio up before you come in and get your berth assigned, they'll tell you whether your bow's in port or starboard side 2 or whatever. As the levels nearly equalise, you'll see that the turbulence becomes a lot less.
Someone knows to open a little bit more as an approach, it's level sort of thing. glass half needs it, and just throw it all the laughing so just looking at really.
See the lock gates opening a little bit more now, and that's it, we're equalised. So the boat's probably been raised up 9 or 10 metres perhaps, in a matter of minutes. So imagine the size of the lock and that volume of water. It's huge amounts of water that are being moved around. One cool thing that they do occasionally is what's called free flow. So if the level of the tide is higher than the level of the marina, they can actually open both locks for a short period and use the water to refresh the marina. All the water just comes in, and then effectively you're directly connected to the sea. I don't think they do any boat movements during that time because there's again huge volumes of water moving through the lock. And that's it, they're away. It seemed pretty daunting to me before I came in and did this, but actually it's pretty simple, pretty easy, particularly with the floating pontoons. You're not constantly adjusting lines or anything like that. You're just made up alongside, and Bob's your uncle. Away you go to find your berth, go to the pub and maybe even have a pint and some fish and chips. Speaking of finding your berth, this is my berth. I was down on J pontoon, which is the last pontoon of the first section of the marina. As you can see, it's quite a long marina. That is where I was. These maps are super useful. They're available off the website. And yeah, this is the walk up. As you can see, you've got flats and stuff to either side, making it really protected. As you're walking up here, you can see in the distance the buildings there. That's actually a set of shops that I'll show you in a minute. The other end of the marina is full of all big boats and stuff like that. There are supermarkets and there's a Wetherspoons and absolutely all sorts down there. There's actually a pub restaurant that's sort of right next to the marina as well, which is superb. It seemed like every day was sunny while I was there. So this is that section of marina. The long walkway on the right hand side is what I was walking up. And now you can see the shops a little bit more at the top end. So there's an awesome bakery, there's a Costa coffee, there's a seafood restaurant and chip shop, there's a pub, and there's a co-op. I mean, you literally wouldn't even need to leave the marina area whatsoever to get absolutely everything you want. If we just hold it here a minute, so the building here is the office with the facilities, and you can just see the lock control room there. Then you've got a little food wagon here, and then at weekends in this area there are other little food vans that come in and do all sorts of stuff. I had a really nice pad thai out of one of them. And then over here is Italian restaurant, which I visited with Greg and Joe, which was awesome, and that was delicious. There are other facilities midway down the marina, which is actually where the bath is. I'll show you those in a little while. Here are the shops I was talking about. This is a little bakery, which is fantastic. I cannot explain to you how good it is. And then this place is the something. Oh, the fish and chippy place that does all sorts of different seafood and stuff like that. Following on from that is the Sirens Calling. Just ignore my belly in the corner of the screen. There's not much I can do about that. Well, there is, I could lose weight, but you know. Then there is a Costa Coffee, which is always nice to have. And then coming up at my very slow walking pace, anytime now, is a Co-op food. So literally this is all right where you exit the pontoons. Literally straight in front of you as you come off the pontoons, which is just seconds walking. Yeah. And then coming along from there, walking across the marina, you can see the smaller vessels are all over this side. It's just a very pretty place, and super protected as well with the buildings around. The wind just doesn't get up in there unless it's coming along either end of the marina, which obviously there's nothing you can do about because it's a massive long marina. Swinging ourselves around that corner. This is sort of the central section of the marina now. Still within the first long section. I don't know. I'll show you the map. You can see what's on there. From this vantage point here, you can see pretty much both ends of the marina. So this building all the way down there with the blue netting on that's scaffolded, that's actually the end of the marina all the way down there. It is hugely long. I'll actually measure it. There you go. 500 metres of marina. Pretty bloody big, isn't it? In the central section of the marina near the lift out station is this restaurant, which is Hollywood House, I think, and in this little door in the side is the marina's second set of facilities where the super glorious amazing bath is. And this is the back end of the marina now. I've turned the volume off so you couldn't hear me puffing and panting because it was a little bit warm, and I was on my way to Wetherspoons for a drink. So much like Penarth Marina, Portishead Marina used to be industrial docks. So you can see in the picture there the original sea locks down the bottom, which have now obviously been converted into new ones. Interesting, there is some leftover machinery that's still there from the original docks, I believe. I think it was a phosphorus works and a power station, possibly. Me and history don't go hand in hand. I failed my history GCSE, but there are various little plaques and things around the marina to show you little bits about the history and stuff like that. Here we can see the boat care shed and the boatyard. Interestingly, it is not next to the sea, which is quite unusual. That means that you get to drive your boat down the road, which is pretty cool. As we pan around, you can see the Bristol Channel out there, and you can just make out the big bridge. As we come further around, the actual marina will come into view. And there it is over there. So you get lifted out just in the middle of the screen there, and you drive all the way down that road. I was pretty lucky that I saw a lift out while I was there. Obviously I've sped this bit up. they don't really lift them out this quick, but I always think it's interesting to watch a lift out because it still strikes me as a pretty cool thing to see boats get lifted up and flown around and all the rest of it. And this is an interesting one because you had to get lifted out in front of the pub near the car park, and then spun around and driven down the road, like I say. I'd find it scary driving one of these things. I mean, your wheels are literally on two walls with a big gap into the sea in the middle of it. I always find it scary. So all the boats that come out get sat down temporarily, and then they all get jet washed off as well. Once they've been cleaned up, you start to do the old manoeuvring. So I used to be a HGV driver. I still wouldn't fancy this. I used to spin Arctics around and stuff like that, but there's something a bit scary when it's like a very expensive boat on there. Doing a little 3-point turn in basically a car park. Stand well back, boat reversing. Stand well back, boat reversing. And away they go. You can see the pub in the background there. Like I say, underneath that building is where the second set of facilities are, and the toilets and the bath. And there you go, driving a boat on a road. So they offer a full set of facilities at Boat Care. Lift outs, wash off, fiberglass work. I think they'll drop your keel for you, anti-fouling, painting, basically everything that all the boat cares usually do you can get done here, which is ideal. It's not even got a steering wheel. It's got to be nerve-wracking, hasn't it? I suppose you get used to it. So that's it for the sort of structured bit of showing you the bits and pieces. And now it's down to me waffling and telling you exactly what I think about the place, and a bit more freeform, which is what I'm a little bit better at, rather than having to actually like structure things, which is rubbish. I hate it. But yeah, so Portishead is the second Boatfolk marina that I visited on the way, the first one being Penarth. And the thing with the two marinas is they're both very, very different, which actually works to their benefit, because they're both rather sort of isolated all the way up the Bristol Channel. It's not somewhere you generally pass on the way to somewhere. You need to go up there on purpose almost. So it's great that they're two very different places. Penarth is sort of a little community village sort of feel, whereas Portishead is almost a destination in itself, where it's got everything right there. So you can go out to the boozer and everything, it's all right there, you're very much in the thick of it. And then you can also just walk down the road and you've got big town and pubs and supermarkets and all the rest of it, literally a few minutes walk away. So Penarth and Portishead have this sort of great symbiotic relationship, where if Penarth is the sort of place you want to be, then for a change you can go to Portishead and be in the thick of it. Or if you prefer to be in the thick of it, you can be at Portishead and travel down to Penarth for a little chill out and a break, which obviously you can do with the cruising pass, because you can spend 30 days in either one. So you could go up almost every weekend to the other place, which is a pretty cool thing to do, I think. And they organise sailings together and stuff like that. Another great thing about Portishead is that you get out into the Bristol Channel, and instead of going left, you can go right, and you can actually go all the way up into Bristol town centre, all the way up the river, something, straight into the middle of Bristol, which is superb. You've got the SS Great Britain there, I think, and you've got various other awesome. Everything that comes with Bristol. If you've ever been to Bristol, it's quite a great place actually. It's a university town. It's got a really good vibe. It's really, really nice. I've been there a couple of times now, and each time has been brilliant. Yeah, the bath. Oh, it's such a boon, honestly. If you're a liveaboard or you spend a lot of time on your boat travelling and stuff like that, being able to sit and soak in a bath after a day sailing is something else. The facilities are all very clean, the same with Boatfolk everywhere that I've been. Even if facilities are older, they're always really well maintained. They're actually quite new here, which is fantastic. The block near the pub has several showers and private shower rooms and baths and stuff like that. The block up under the office has shower cubicles and stuff, so you can pick and choose. What else am I going to say to you? The cafe. I can't remember the name of it now. Whatever it's called. Whatever. If you're in the area, go there and get a ham and cheese croissant. Oh my god, they are something else. It's dangerous. Because you don't want to spend the money, but oh god, they're good. They're so good. And if you get in early when they're still warm out of the oven, oh my god, it's sublime. Like I say, there's the Sirens Calling pub there as well, which is a great boozer. They had live music on when I was there. The co-op is a decent sized co-op, so you got everything you want there. You literally don't need to leave the marina if you want. If you go in there for a weekend or a week, if you're a berth holder there and you go down there for the weekend, you could literally just chill out on the boat, nip up for a fish and chips or a pint in the pub, go back to the boat, chill out. You don't need to do anything. Or you can then go into town or get transport links into Bristol, or the world is your oyster basically. And I don't even like shellfish. The little food court area, so the food van that I showed you, they do like breakfast and burgers and stuff like that. That's there every day, I believe. And then, like I say, I think it's generally at weekends or maybe bank holidays or holidays and stuff. They have various different little food trucks come into that area. I think they had a pizza oven when I was there one of the days, if I remember correctly. But the little Thai place that did pad Thai, like a bowl of pad Thai with the peanuts and the sauce and the everything, it was absolutely delicious, and it wasn't expensive either, which is a bonus. In terms of the staff, same old story with Boatfolk staff. They're all spot on. Not had a single anything approaching a negative experience yet, and I've been to 7 marinas now, I think 7 of the 11. So yeah, as I'm filming this, I'm actually sat in Rue in Scotland. So yeah, I've got a bit of experience with them now. It's definitely a running theme with Boatfolk. Yeah, as I said early on in the video, the navigation is pretty simple. You've just got to be very wary because the tide does rip. In the previous video that you saw, I was heading to Portishead, and I think in one of them I showed the lateral marker, and it was heeled right over because of the tide. The tide rips at 5-6 beyond knots in places, so you've got to go with it. You can't go against it. You've got to pay particular attention if you're leaving downstream, down tide, in a strong southwesterly, that can build wind over tide, so you've got to pick your days around there. That is what it is. I didn't actually get a chance to go upriver. I'm on such a tight schedule. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way around yet or not. I don't know if I'm going to get stuck on the east coast, but that is what it is. We'll see about that. I'm a bit gutted really, because I'd like to explore more places and stuff like that, but I've got the rest of my life for that. This is about getting around and doing it. So, final thoughts on Portishead. I think all the last bit might have just been my final thoughts. I'm not good at this YouTube stuff. We're not professionals over here, are we? Yeah, I think it's a bloody nice place, well protected. Everybody that I met on the boats in the marina were all great. Yeah, I think I've about exhausted my brain. So, if you're thinking about getting a boat, or you have a boat and you're looking somewhere to keep it, one thing that I haven't really mentioned is how ideal that location is for people from like the Midlands and stuff to just jot down and get onto your boat. Yeah, but give them a ring, see about it. I cannot recommend Boatfolk highly enough. They're superb. And if you do ring up, tell them that you rang up because you heard this idiot talking about it, because that'll help me out as well. Yeah, I'd like to be able to track if these videos are having an effect, if getting the idea of Boatfolk out there and showing these great marinas and promoting this cruising pass where spend a few months in your home marina and then go right all the way around the UK staying in marinas for free. The concept of it is just amazing, so hopefully I'm getting that message out there. Hopefully some people are on board with that, and it'd be fantastic to see if they are. So yeah, I think that concludes this video. Sayonara.